About NonStop Local at 4 AI data centers could be coming to Washington. Why residents aren't just concerned with energy demand, but energy supply. And Team Egypt is coming to Spokane ahead of their World Cup game in Seattle. How places in our area are already planning special events and some cuisine for you.
And it was another absolutely gorgeous day, but there are some big changes. They're on the ways we had overnight tonight. Think rain, thunder, lightning, and winds. All those details straight ahead. NonStop Local 4 starts right now.
Corey Howard and Leslie Lowe, bringing you the content that connects our community. You're watching NonStop Local News at 4.
And thanks so much for joining us here at 4 o'clock. You know, the big news so far this week is Team Egypt coming to Spokane for the FIFA World Cup. Spokane designated as an official fan zone, and finding out Team Egypt will be housed here is bringing some excitement in downtown. In fact, some businesses are already planning special events and some drinks to welcome the team and, of course, the fans. NonStop Local's Belle Lewis is at one of those businesses now. Belle, No Lie Brew House announcing a special beer inspired by Egypt.
Yes, Corey, No Lie announced that Egypt-inspired Pharaoh's Gold beer really quickly after Egypt was named to be coming to Spokane. He says that it was inspired by a bunch of pale ales and traditional drinks served in that part of the world. But owner John Bryant says that it's all about bringing people into the brew house and creating that spirit of community. Of course, No Lie Brew House isn't the only business that's going to be taking advantage of hosting fans. I spoke with several restaurants who serve food from the North African region. They're looking forward to bringing in some curious customers, and of course the city itself planning to install a massive screen at Giza Pavilion and hosting all sorts of events as we head into FIFA 2026. The Hype business owners tell me bringing in a much needed economic boost to Spokane.
I think Spokane deserves this. Spokane needs this. We need more good optimism, good positive news. I mean, once the university's let out, which is just a few weeks away, Spokane can get kind of quiet. So we want to celebrate in Spokane all summer long.
Brian also tells me that hosting Egypt brings some international culture to our area and inspires fans to come together over something new. And Corey, the city and No Lie are preparing for a crowd. In fact, the owner tells me that they're preparing for No Lie to turn into sort of a mix between a Ted Lasso and Wrexham United pub. So look forward to that. Of course, many businesses preparing for this economic boost. In Spokane, I'm Belle Lewis, NonStop Local.
Thank you very much, Belle. And hey, as for the World Cup itself, the matches are approaching fast. Just 2 months away from 6 international teams playing just 4 hours away over in Seattle. Noah Schmick joining us here in studio with more on the Egyptian national team. Noah, admittedly, I don't know anything about soccer. Are they good? What do we know about them?
They're pretty good. They're middle of the pack, maybe a little bit better than average, Corey. Okay. How about that, all right? Yeah, right now, according to the FIFA Men's World Cup rankings, Egypt is 29th best team, I should say, out of more than 200 teams. And they have a global superstar who plays for Liverpool in the English Premier League, who is widely regarded as one of the best players of this generation, goal scorer in the World Cup. So here's a little history when it comes to the Pharaohs. This is the Egypt's team's nickname in the World Cup. They were the first African and Arab team to make the World Cup back in 1934. They have a total of 4 appearances in the World Cup, but they have never made it out of the group stage. So let's talk a little bit about the group stage. They were put in Group G, which according to the average FIFA Men's World Rankings, it is actually one of the weaker groups. So they have a chance. Egypt will face Belgium, one of the best teams in this group, at Lumen Field in Seattle on June 15th. That's their first match. Then they will go up to British Columbia, BC Place Stadium in Vancouver the following week to face New Zealand, and then play against Iran back in Seattle on June 26. Right now it's Belgium and Iran. Those are the 2 teams that should make it out of the group stage, but we've seen more wild things happen in the World Cup. So.
I have so much to learn about. Do we call it soccer?
We can call it soccer, we can call it footy, call it whatever you want. So, yeah.
So much to learn about footy in the next couple of months. I got to get that all packed in before it just gets taken over here for the summer. Because the World Cup, even if you don't like soccer, footy. It's always fun to watch. So every couple of years, every 4 years.
It's so much fun. I mean, there was a time when Germany was really good. Belgium used to be really good. So being in that group, it's kind of fun. We get to see the team Egypt here in Spokane playing against one of the better teams in the World Cup, Belgium. So that'll be a fun one in Seattle.
All right. no, very informative. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Meanwhile, how about a live look at Spokane Falls? Yeah, why not? Oh, it's beautiful outside.
It's gorgeous.
It's so gorgeous.
outside. It's gorgeous, and I just learned so much about soccer right there.
Footy. I think I like footy.
I like footy. I think we're going with that.
There's going to be soccer enthusiasts, purists out there, aficionados
Probably,
that are going to say, guys, stop it.
Come on, don't do that.
But we can't say football, right?
We could say football. We could say soccer.
Okay.
We could say it's gorgeous outside and it's a great time to be out there playing a little football, soccer, or footy. Yeah, it's been beautiful today. I hope you had a chance to get outside and enjoy. And if not, well, you still got a little bit of time with sunset not until just before 8 o'clock tonight. Allergies, though, oh, they are such a big player. They're going to hold right there in the high side of the medium category for pollen counts. Of course, trees and grass, they are the biggest offenders. All the trees are blooming. They're beautiful. And that grass is certainly greening up. This is a look again at the Spokane River. It is gorgeous. We've got temperatures sitting at 70 degrees right now in Spokane, 73 in Coeur d'Alene, 66 degrees in Pullman, and currently sitting near 80 degrees in Chewelah. Winds a little bit breezy over towards North Idaho with wind speeds at 10 to 15 miles per hour. And this right here, all areas shaded in green, this is where we've got that thunderstorm threat as we get you into the overnight hours tonight. We've got that system. It is pulling northward. You can see already a few thunderstorms starting to fire up for areas just to south of the LC Valley, pushing over towards Walla Walla, foothills of the Blue Mountains, also seeing some thunderstorm activity. This is a pretty impressive band that is starting to make its way our direction. And again, we are looking for some nocturnal thunderstorms. I just like to say nocturnal thunderstorms, and they're always just so fun to wake up to. But some brief but heavy downpours to go along with that. The potential of some hail and gusty outflow winds are possible. This is pretty feisty cold front that is going to move through Corey. We'll talk about that and how long we'll see that rain stick around when I see you back here in just a few minutes.
Thanks, Leslie. A crime tracker alert now out of Tri-Cities. The Pasco Police Department asking for your help identifying these two men here. Officers say they have been living under stolen identities since the 1990s. The men used the identities of Tim Seidenfeld and Glenn Scottson. According to Pasco Police, both had accidental deaths as young children in Idaho in the early 70s. Officers believe the men on your screen started working under these names in the telecommunications industry in the 90s in Salem and in Seattle. Anyone with information is urged to contact the Pasco Police Department. The number you see on your screen there, 509-545-3421. According to a campaign on actionnetwork.org, nearly 68,000 letters have been sent to support blocking the construction of data centers in Seattle. Cairo 7's Brendan Thompson reports on why some are concerned that these will create issues for an energy supply that is already maxed out.
These facilities will likely be much bigger because they are powering the growing AI push like Claude or ChatGPT that people have on their phones. Now, some of these data centers in Seattle right now, they kind of hide in plain sight, like this one in downtown. But across the country, these centers are making a lot of literal and figurative noise. Fight over data centers is now coming to Seattle.
We're a little behind the rest of the country, to be frank.
A new proposal surrounded by secrecy is looking to bring 4 or maybe 5 data centers to the Emerald City, but who is behind it? That's still unclear. Our news partners at Cairo Radio report the plan involved 4 companies. The Seattle Times says it's 3. We've reached out to Seattle City Light for clarification, who says they can't answer our questions today. But what we do know for sure, these facilities eat up a lot of energy. About 370 megawatts, a third of Seattle City Light's energy supply for an average day, according to the outlet.
We are all shocked. It's an insane amount.
Seattle City Light telling Cairo Radio these facilities would likely be in the southern part of their coverage area, but what could it mean for you? Virginia has one of the highest concentrations of data centers in the country, like this large facility. The Environmental and Energy Study Institute estimates rates there have gone up 267% in just the last 5 years.
That should be our number one priority, providing and the right types of energy for the growing population, for the people of Seattle, right? Not serving these corporate interests.
We know that we're paying too much. And I think people are responding to that in a big way.
Some data centers have been required to find their own energy sources. And while we tried to find out if that will be the case in Seattle, Noise complaints have come from people living near that Virginia facility. The group Seattle 530 called on people to voice their concerns yesterday morning. Their website says 37,000 letters have been sent to Seattle City Council urging them to pass a moratorium.
We, the people, should be deciding what industry we want in our towns and in our communities. We should really be the ones deciding what we want in our economies, not having it forced upon us.
So we did reach out to Seattle City Council members to see what they thought about this moratorium. We did not hear back by our deadline. Reporting in Seattle, Brandon Thompson, KIRO 7 News.
In a press release, Washington Representative Dan Newhouse and Montana Senator Steve Daines issued a statement announcing the passage of the Build More Hydro bill that aims to build more hydroelectric dams to increase the country's energy supply. The bipartisan bill is now headed to the president's desk to be signed or vetoed. So to come this afternoon on NonStop Local at 4, something happened on this day in history. Well, technically a lot of things happened on this day in history, but we'll focus on one in particular that was highly anticipated. A highly anticipated event ended up being a letdown, much like this show, right? But this one really catapulted the career of a certain mustachioed man. Leslie and I will talk about that in just a few minutes. She also has a full weather forecast to get to.
A mustache, but I do have a full weather forecast for you, and there's a lot happening in this forecast. We're talking about rain, snow, wind, potential flooding. Why not? If wind advisories, we've got the whole gamut. We'll see you back here right after the break.
Whoa! Spinny in Space is back on the floor, everybody.
We love Spinny in Space so much.
Yeah, we're talking meteor showers today.
Yeah, so much. So our good friend Justin Spinney is going to tell us all about the Lyrid meteor shower happening tonight, or will we be able to see them?
We had a bit of a meteor shower drought throughout these winter months, but now here we are in spring and we are in the peak of a meteor shower. It's the Lyrid meteor shower that we're talking about. And at the peak of this tonight, we can see 10 to 20 meteors per hour. Not too bad when it comes to the moon either, 27% full. That's a waxing crescent moon, so it's starting to grow. But again, it's going to work for our purposes tonight. If you want to see if you can see any meteors for yourself, you'll want to peek out toward the northeast sky, find the constellation Lyra. The brightest star within that constellation is Vega, and that's about the point that these meteors should be originating from. So even though the moon is going to be helping us out, still need a lot to go right to be able to see these. Typically don't have the brightest meteors within this meteor shower. You don't get those big fireball meteors, and we also need our earthly weather to behave itself. Might be a bit complicated there. I'll leave it to Leslie for that.
Of course he's going to put that off on me. Huh.
So?
Well, you know, as Benny said, look to the north, look to the east, and potentially be able to see those.
But straight on till morning?
Probably not.
No.
Because we have a lot of crazy weather that's going on overnight tonight, so we should probably talk about that.
Okay, well.
Let's talk about that. Let's get to that weather forecast. Right now it's beautiful out there. In fact, you can see 72 in Yakima. We've got 74 degrees currently in the Tri-Cities. Right there at 70 degrees in Spokane, but we've all got those clouds that have started to filter in ahead of this next system. Also pretty breezy for areas down through the basin where we're seeing sustained winds currently at 30 miles per hour for the Tri-Cities, at about 15 miles per hour in Yakima, and about 10 miles per hour right now in Spokane. So those thunderstorms that are starting to pop up again south of us for our friends in the basin, that's causing those gusty outflow winds, and that's going to continue to be a problem. And I'm going to dive into that a little bit deeper coming up in just a few minutes. But 40 mile per hour gust, again, this is what this current forecast is showing here. Ellensburg seeing 43 mile per hour gust. Now on our satellite radar, we got a pair of lows right here, so this is going to keep things incredibly active. You can see this line again pulling over the northeast mountains of Oregon. My friends in Pendleton pushing up towards the Tri-Cities, over towards Walla Walla. You know, thunder roars, get yourself indoors. Along with this, we've got the dangerous cloud ground lightning. We've got brief heavy downpours, the gusty outflow winds, and the potential of some small hail to go along with that. 48 degrees overnight tonight in Spokane. In fact, we've got upper 40s from Colville over towards Sandpoint. 48 overnight in Spokane. We've got low 40s along the Palouse, upper 40s again for the LC Valley, and upper 40s and low 50s back into central Washington. It is a very active night ahead. In fact, again, I'll say it, nocturnal thunderstorm activity is likely. As we head into the day tomorrow, we'll start to see some of those thunderstorms taper off, but it's still going to be blustery. We've still got breezy conditions. We've still got rain in the forecast. In fact, all said and done, we could pick up here in Spokane anywhere from a half an inch to an inch of rainfall. It is quieter but cooler as we wrap up the work week and head into the weekend. So let's talk snow first. This is above 4,000 feet, northeast mountains, central Idaho over towards western Montana. Now this will be in place for the northeast mountains until tonight. It will not set to expire until we get you into Friday for central parts of Idaho and over towards western Montana. So higher elevations there. This is our thunderstorm threat for today. You can see we're all in it with that widespread rain showers, anywhere from 80 to 100% chance of rain showers over the next 24 hours. Flood alert, you can see south of us, Latah, Whitman County, areas down Columbia County into the Tri-Cities under that flood watch. That is because we're watching for rises in small streams, creeks, and rivers with this amount of rainfall. So what does this look like? Let's take you through it. This is as we head overnight tonight, 11 o'clock. We're starting to see some of those showers pop right there. That low is right over the top of us and continues to drive in what looks as though is going to be widespread and heavy rain showers. This is going to create visibility concerns out there. This is going to cause standing water on area roadways. So this is going to be problematic. And then back behind this cold front, as the cold front shoves the showers to the south and over to the east of us, we've got the wind. So the wind's going to be a player. Everybody within those wind advisories looking for gusts to over 50 miles per hour, 45 to 50 miles per hour. So two hands on the wheel if you're traveling for sure tomorrow, especially if you're headed westbound. And our temperatures take a big drop, mid to upper 50s and low 60s throughout the day tomorrow. We'll slowly rebound it just a bit as we get you into this next week, but pretty busy as we wrap up the work week. We'll take breaks. See you back after this.
Leslie, what were you up to 4 years ago?
I don't want to talk about that.
All right.
That'll tell you and everybody out there how old I really am.
I'm pretty sure I was playing with a Teddy Ruxpin or something, but
You probably
on
were.
this day in history, April 21st, 1986, one of the most highly anticipated yet anticlimactic things happened. Something that reached 94% of American households, millions and millions of people, 30 million people tuning in for the mystery of Al Capone's vault. If you need a refresher, this is Al Capone. Actually, it's a really creepy statue of Al Capone.
Yeah, it is.
This is Al Capone here, or was Al Capone. He died in 1947. And of course, was one of the infamous gangster who in 1929 moved his organization to the Lexington Hotel in Chicago.
Yep, but after Capone was arrested and transferred to Alcatraz by the federal government, the hotel sort of went into shambles. It was closed in 1980, and a bid to restore it a few years later found a 125-foot-long sealed vault. There was interest as to what was in the vault because of Capone's reputation. Some thought that it was filled with Capone's secrets.
Some thought maybe there were dead bodies in there, like for real. There was a medical examiner on standby for the broadcast that they did. IRS agents were there because Capone, despite having been dead for 40 years, still owed money. So they wanted to get theirs in case they opened it up and it was there.
Oh, well, there we go. Okay, and on this day, the man with the mustache, Geraldo Rivera, said, let's crack that thing open, but let's do it on live TV and let's have 2 hours of buildup and nothing. They found nothing but dirt and a gin bottle. Was it empty or was it full though?
Well, I don't know, but they admitted defeat with Geraldo saying, seems like we struck out, and the sound when you lose a game on The Price is Right collectively played in viewers' minds. Boop, boop, ba-doom. All that build up for nothing, but it was the most successful syndicated show that year, and Geraldo said afterwards he went across the street, got tequila drunk, thinking his career was over, and he woke up the next day to a bunch of job offers. So it worked out well for Geraldo, but here's the thing. The mystery of Al Capone's vault, it remains a mystery, I guess, because there was nothing in there.
But there was a gin bottle. We still don't know if it was empty or full.
Gotta, I don't know, do more research. I didn't have time, I'm sorry. We'll take a break. We'll be right back after this. Welcome back. Let's take you to Albany. That's in New York, where a bear was doing bear things in a tree, and some folks said, hey, you may be a bear doing bear things in a tree, but you can't be doing bear things in this tree because it's surrounded by humans doing human things.
And the human things don't want the bear things hanging above them, right? So much the officers from the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation were called and fired a tranquilizer dart at the bear. About 15 minutes after it was hit, the bear struggled to hang on, but finally fell into the net below.
It looks familiar there.
Maybe you should tell us more about that.
We don't have time.
Despite the fall, the animal appeared to be okay and will eventually be released back into the wild.
Presumably to do bear things, where bears should be doing
Bear things. And not bear things where people are doing people things.
I'll never understand how we watch this video and the bear's okay.
I know.
Oftentimes, most times I would say, we do those stories about the bear being tranquilized and that they're fine.
They're fine. Fell into a net. I just want to know why it felt familiar to you. So many questions, Corey. I have questions.
We don't have time. We have to take a break. We'll be right back. It's a tranquilizer. We're just waking up and being like, how did I get,
Or falling into the net. I mean, that's a bounce back.
It's kind of like when they say, instead of like tensing up, just like be loose.
Yeah.
He's obviously loose when he's falling from the trees. So that must help.
That's got to help.
Tri-Cities Yakima.